Okay guys, we're going to be talking about another character race today, and that race is elves. Now there are many types of different elves, and you can reference those in the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Monster Manual, but elven characters, the actual player characters, are always considered to be high elves, unless of course otherwise noted, and high elves are the most common sort of elf. A character of elven stock can opt to be a fighter, maximum of 7th level, a magic user, maximum of 11th level, a thief or an assassin, maximum of 10th level. An elven character can also be multi-classed. If the character is multi-classed, the following restrictions and strictures apply. Although able to operate freely with the benefits of armor, weapons, and magical items available to the classes the character is operating in, any thieving is restricted to the armor and weaponry usable by the thief class. All earned experience is always divided equally among the classes of the character, even though the character is no longer able to gain levels in one or more of the classes, and of course this is standard in Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. Elven characters have a 90% resistance to sleep and charm spells. If these spells are cast upon them, a percentile dice roll of 91% or better is required to allow the magic any chance of having an effect, and even then the saving throw against spells is allowed versus the charm spell. When employing either a bow of any sort other than a crossbow, or a short or long sword, elven characters gain a bonus of +1 to their die rolls to hit. All elven characters are able to speak the following languages in addition to that of their chosen alignment: Elvish, Gnome, Halfling, Goblin, Hobgoblin, Orcish, Gnoll, and the common tongue of mankind. Elven characters of above 15 intelligence are able to learn one additional language for every point of intelligence over 15. For example, a character with an 18 intelligence score could learn 3 additional languages. Elves have the ability to see into the infrared spectrum, so they are able to see up to 60 feet in darkness, noting varying degrees of heat radiation. Secret or concealed doors are difficult to hide from elves. Merely passing within 10 feet of the latter makes an elven character 16 2/3% or 1 in 6 likely to notice it. If actively searching for such doors, elven characters are 1/3 or 2 in 6 likely to find a secret door, and 50% likely to discover a concealed portal. As has been shown previously, elven characters add a bonus of +1 to their initial dexterity score. Likewise, as elves are not as sturdy as humans, they deduct 1 from their initial constitution score. If alone and not in metal armor, or if well in advance, 90 feet or more, of a party which does not consist entirely of elves and or halflings, an elven character moves so silently that he or she will surprise monsters 2/3 of the time, unless some portal must be opened in order to confront the monster. In the latter case, the chance for surprise drops to 1 in 3, 33 1/3%. Elves are renowned for their grace and mastery of magic, and weapons such as the sword and bow. Becoming physically mature by the age of 25, and emotionally mature at around 125, they are also famously long-lived, capable of living more than half a millennium and remaining physically youthful. They rarely die due to the wear of age. Possessed of innate beauty and easy gracefulness, they are viewed as both wondrous and haughty by other races. However, their natural detachment is seen by some as introversion or xenophobia. There are several different subraces of elves, including aquatic elves, dark elves, otherwise known as the drow, gray elves, high elves, which are the standard player characters in Dungeons & Dragons like we've stated. There are also moon elves, rockseer elves, snow elves, sun elves, valley elves, wild elves, wood elves, and winged elves. Now back to the real world. Elves, in Germanic folklore, originally were a spirit of any kind, later specialized into a diminutive creature, usually in tiny human form. The notable characteristics of elves were mischief and volatility. They were believed at various times and in various regions to cause diseases in humans and cattle, to sit upon the breast of a sleeper and give him bad dreams, and to steal human children and substitute changelings, which are deformed or weak elf or fairy children. In the British Isles, flint implements called elf bolts, elf arrows, or elf shot, which are now known to be prehistoric tools used by the Aboriginal Irish and the early Scots, were believed to be the weapons with which elves injured cattle. Elves occasionally also were benevolent and helpful. The second edition of the Encyclopaedia Britannica, which was published in 1777, calls the word elf obsolete, but reports that belief in such creatures still subsists in many parts of our own country. Regardless of how familiar you are with Dungeons & Dragons, and folklore in general, elves are one of the prototypical creatures that spawned the idea for Dungeons & Dragons.